Now in the previous lecture we have seen that whenever we use len function with the number, it gives us type error. So basically this means that len function over here is designed to work only with strings. So the way I think about function is kind of like some sort of fancy machine. So in our case, we got some sort of fancy machine that takes potatoes in and gives us chips. So we don't really care about how it does it. But it's probably going to have to peel the potatoes, cut it up and fry it, and then finally return it as an output in form of fries over here. So let's say we took the same machine that normally processed the potatoes, and this time we decided to put inside, instead of potato, we decided to put rock. And if we do so, our machine will give us errors. So that's what happened in case of len function as well. So this means that this len function over here does not like working with integers. And by forcing this through, we end up with an error and our code breaks and gives us type error over here. So now as you remember, when we talk about len function, we have used it with input function, which takes our name from the console and prints out the number of characters in our name to the console. So as you remember, our project was like this. We have created name variable, and in name variable we have assigned the value that comes from the console by using input function. So here it was like this: what is your name? Then by using len function we have calculated the len of characters in our name. So I have created length variable and set it len name. Then we have printed out to the console len. Now this is how our code was like. So if I run our code, you see that it's going to ask my name. So if I put my name over here, Irshad, and hit enter, you'll see that it's returning just 6. Now if you want to print proper message to the console, like your name has 6 characters, in this case we need to use concatenation inside this print function over here. So we can put something like this. So what I'm going to do, I will put your name has, then plus sign for concatenation, then hover here. So this is the length of my name, and here I'm going to put characters. So in this case, instead of 6 over here, we can return to the console, your name has 6 characters over here. Now if we run our code, and you see that it will ask my name, so if I put my name and hit enter, you'll see that we are receiving another type error over here. So here it says that we can only concatenate strings with strings, so we cannot concatenate string with integer. So in this case, we were trying to concatenate strings with integer, so that's why we get type error. So the question is, how can we prevent type errors? And how can we see the data type that we are working with? So for this, we can use a function called type. So whatever we put between the parentheses, it will give you the type of that data over here. So for now, I'm going to comment this part over here. Now then I'm going to print out type of length variable over here. So to see the output in the console, we need to put it inside print function. So I'm going to put it inside print function and run our code. So if you run our code, you see that it's going to ask my name. So if I put my name over here and hit enter, then it's going to print out the type of length over here. Now you see that in this case, the type of length is integer. So here we are trying to adding a string to an integer. So this does not make any sense. So that's why we are getting type error. Now every time when you are writing code and you are not quite sure the type of the data, then you can simply just put it inside type check function like this and get the type of data. Now in addition to the type checking, we can also do type conversion, or you might hear it's called sometimes typecasting, when we can change a piece of data from one particular type to another type. So for example, we know that this variable has a data type of integer, and we can change this type to the string, and then this line of code over here will not break. So how can we convert this length variable to the string? So for this, we are going to use str function. So to convert any given variable to the string, we need to use string function over here. So if I put this length function inside this string, it's going to convert it to the string function. So I'm going to put this length function inside this str and assign the return that comes from the str to a new variable. So I'm going to put new length will be set to str length. After doing so, if I just call the type function for new length, you will see that the type is changed. So I'm going to put over here new length. So if I put new length over here and run our code, so you see that it's going to ask my name. So one more time I'm putting my name and hit enter. You see that first length is integer and the second length that we created over here by using str function, it is string. Now this means that we can use this new length variable inside this print function over here. So if you use it over there, it's not going to give us type error because in this case we are concatenating only strings. So what I'm going to do, so I'll just copy this part from here and put it over here. Then I'm going to use this len function over here, and let me just comment out this part. Now if I run our code, you'll see that one more time it's asking my name. So if I enter my name and hit enter, you'll see that it says that your name has 6 characters. So in this case, we have not got any type error because in this case, this part is a string and we are concatenating string with a string because in this case, we have converted this len to the string by using str function. Then we are concatenating it with another string. So in this case, we are concatenating only strings. So that's why we don't have any problem. Now you are not limited only to converting numbers to string. You can also convert a whole bunch of different data types to others. So for example, by using float function, we can convert integer to float. So I'm going to delete this part from here. And for example, I will create a variable like this, 1, 2, 3. And I will create another variable, which is converting this a to the float. Then I'm going to print out both of them. So in this case, print a and b. If I run our code, you see that first is integer because we don't have any decimal place over here. And the second is floating number, in which we have decimal place over here. So by using float function, we can convert any integer to float. And by using integer function, which is int, we can convert float to integer. And with str function, we can convert any other data type to the string data type. So in summary, you can use type function to investigate the data type you are working with, and you can use function like string, int, and float to convert to that data type. So with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. So in this lecture, we have learned what's type error, and we have learned how can we check type of any given data type. And finally, we have learned how can we convert any given data type to another data type. So this is all for this lecture. See you in the next lecture.